Counter-Narrative News, bringing you daily news today on Wednesday, the 12th of April, 2023. President Biden of the USA is on a visit to Ireland, including the British-occupied 6 counties of the north. It coincides with the 25th anniversary of the British colonial Good Friday Agreement, which disarmed one of the greatest socialist revolutionary anti-colonial armies that oppressed people had ever seen, and ensured that strategically going forward that the USA and Britain could conduct their wars of colonial destruction, invasion and occupation, particularly in Sierra Leone, Afghanistan, Iraq and so on. It couldn't be a situation where the British and US states were facing a major insurrectionary revolutionary force from Ireland while also trying to conduct a colonial escapade against Afghanistan and especially Iraq. Can you imagine the Second Intifada, the resistance in Iraq, together with an Irish revolutionary army conducting actions against a common enemy? Biden is visiting Ireland to ensure that the USA is seen to be relevant in Europe. Indeed, the US ruling classes were important and fundamental to the delivery of the Good Friday Agreement. In so doing, they showed that the USA had a major and leading part to play in the most serious social conflict that Europe had seen since the Second World War. The loyalists to British colonial rule in Ireland are expressing great dissatisfaction and displeasure at President Biden, perhaps in part because he has snubbed attending the coronation of the new British monarch. Going over to Italy, the far-right state over there has adopted a state of emergency on the migration issue. This year, some 30,000 plus migrants have arrived in Italy on the Mediterranean Sea route of the North African migrant route. This is compared to 7,000 people in the same period last year. The state of emergency is once again a tool in the culture wars of the far right, whipping up hysteria, racist hysteria that is, against migrants, and also the state of emergency enables the Italian state to faster process the expulsion of migrants and other related racist policies. Going over to the Americas, the governments of Colombia, Panama and the USA have all had a meeting to strategically discuss how to address the humanitarian crisis in the Darien Gap, which is a jungle area in Central America which sees tens of thousands of migrants going through it, being abducted, raped and killed by gangs, etc. 88,000 people have traversed the Darien Gap this year. This is 6 times compared to the same period last year. So you can see with all the migration flows, they are increasing exponentially season upon season, year upon year, without any real leadership. It has to be remained to seen what the USA, Colombian, Panamanian governments are going to do around this. Of course, they're claiming they're going to provide more economic possibilities for the people, for the poor around the area of the Darien Gap jungle. But one can be forgiven for expressing some cynicism around the actions around these states, as to date they've only been imposing a colonial oppressive regime on migrants. To some quite farcical far-right racist scenes in England, what's new? A pub in Grays, Essex, known as the White Hart Inn, well, what else would it have been called, is embroiled in a racist scandal around the figure of dolls being collected by the pub landlords Bernice and Chris Riley. These are dolls depicting black people in a brutally nasty, racist way, commonly and largely seen as coming out of the European racist slavery oppression in the Americas. And the police have been sent there to confiscate these dolls from the pub landlords. And then Bernice Riley, one of the landlords, has stated that she is going to reinstate a new collection of the similar dolls and display it in her pub. News reports have shown that the couple are far-right racists, including Chris Riley donning a t-shirt with the far-right neo-Nazi group Britain First on it. In a hilarious comment, Bernice Riley says, no, it's not necessarily because he's a supporter of the far-right Britain First, but it was just a convenient t-shirt to wear at a time. It indicates a really strange issue whereby, of course, this landlord couple have become a cause célèbre for the fascist far right. But often when you just reflect back quite accurately that your politics are of the far right and very racist, so people seem to express faux kind of offense at this, which is just a strange reaction when everything they do and they say is just profoundly stenching of far-right racism, and then you pin it on them and then they somehow claim some kind of being offended. Now, this whole pub racist fiasco is directly related to what's happening more generally. Now, there's a Tory councillor in Pembrokeshire who is also a magistrate, which is like a local, someone who deals with, who has some power in local courts. A Tory councillor called Andrew Edwards, who's been exposed in an audio recording to which he has not denied that he claims that every white person should have a black person as a slave. And he claims in his crazy racist posture, there's nothing to do with skin color, it's just that black people are lesser people than white people. He has left the Tory party, is under investigation, but also you can see how all these things are kind of flowing into each other in this racist maelstrom. And also the Home Secretary, the notorious, well, they're all notorious far-right lunatics, the far-right minister Suella Braverman, the Home Secretary, indicated around the pub landlord racist dole incident that she claimed that police should not have conducted that action against what is a race hate crime, but the police in Grays, Essex, claim that there has been no communication in that regards from the Home Secretary, indicating again that the far-right Tory regime is playing silly games, but very effective and devastatingly effective divide and rule racist games amongst the British population. Finally, really sad today that we hear that the pioneering reggae sound system DJ and singer, and really kind of like a revolutionary resistance uncle at the grassroots, Shaka, has passed on to the ancestors. For several decades, Shaka's music and sound system and events really was a form of remedial therapy for the black and brown grassroots in their resistance against capitalism and what is known as Babylon in the Rastafari community, which denotes the oppressive, racist colonial system. Shaka, as well as other dub reggae pioneers, enabled particularly African Caribbean, Asian Caribbean, and South Asian working class youth across England and further afield in Britain and the world to unite in struggle. The Tudor Rose famous venue in Southall, for example, is a veritable cultural mecca for this reggae sound system, culture and political movement, in which generation after generation after generation of the working class grassroots of black and Asian as well as white united together in this cultural celebration, taking a bit of a respite from the general oppression. One says taking a respite, but actually oneself did see Shaka perform live at Tudor Rose in the mid-2000s, and of course the police had to raid the venue, didn't they? As just reminding ourselves that this is an intergenerational ongoing struggle against the colonial state. It's Counter-Narrative News, wishing everyone a fantastic evening. Please continue to support us by liking, commenting and sharing, and encouraging your friends and contacts to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter at @counter_CNN.